everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today was the first day of my new school year for COVID-19, the 20 and 21 school year. Lot going through my head. You can tell it's darker now than in most of my videos. That's because it's about 11:30 at night. I don't normally record this late, but it was a very long day, and I'm out of shape, I guess, because we've been on lockdown since March. It's September 8th. And, you know, it was very interesting going into work again. I'm really proud of my administration and the people I work with. I think that my district is doing an awesome job. Um, but in a way, we've been gone for so long. Coming back, it almost felt like I was in the twilight zone. I did a lot today. I got a lot done. But if you asked me at the end of the day what I did, I couldn't tell you. It was almost like I was in a daze on autopilot the whole day. It almost didn't feel real being back, which is actually kind of bothersome. Um, it makes me worry. I don't have kids until next week. This is a superintendent's conference today through Friday. I don't get kids until the 14th, and it makes me wonder. If it feels this weird, when I start teaching, am I losing my touch? Am I going to be incredibly rusty? I don't know, but I'm waiting for Monday so I can rip off the Band-Aid and just get back to it. I'm sure it'll be no problem, but it definitely makes your mind wander. So I've been lucky in the fact that since my district shut down in March, my budget was not affected. I think maybe $100 less than I had last year is what I'll have this year. Um, Add to that the fact that as far as consumables are concerned, I've got everything I didn't use the second half of last year. So I think I'm going to be in very good shape for surplus this year. So I'll be good on that front. And they just finished construction. We got our auditorium rebuilt. And my maintenance guys were nice enough to drop off a bunch of scrap oak lumber that they just took out. All I have to do is take the nails out of it, so I can run it through the tools and machines without damaging anything. But I got a lot of lumber from that, and if you're in a district where money's an issue, that is a good way to go. I'm lucky that I've got some local businesses that like to donate stuff too, so I've always been able to get a good supply of even just cut-offs from a furniture factory. Anything under a certain size, they either burn or throw out. So you can usually get some good hardwoods if you develop a relationship with them, but that's for another video. So what I wanted to show off today, obviously I wanted to talk a little bit about that first day of the new school year with COVID. It's very interesting. As you can tell, I've bought a ton of bandanas and masks and everything. My district also provided masks. But I bought a bunch because I'm wearing a mask for one day and I'm washing it. A, for safety's sake, and B, because of the fact that wearing the mask all day, it's fine for a couple hours at a time. But once you've been wearing it all day, the heat from you breathing, the mask will start to get damp, and the heat will actually make your nose run a little bit, which I wasn't expecting. So I will say this bandana is not the best option, but they're working for me so far. I bought these jumbo ones that I can tie them a little looser, so it's not an issue. So I'll be doing that. My district's got a very good, thorough plan, so we're working in pretty well there. I took all of my paperwork that I've accumulated over the years and all the assignments I've made. Thank God for multi-page scanners. I've scanned everything in, and I'm setting up my Google Classroom bit by bit. Got all the scanning done now. I just have to populate it into Classroom, get everything set up there. And then today I also completed an idea that I've been having because I had a couple weeks back, a couple people mentioned they'd like to see some simple projects that they could do with minimal tooling. So that was the perfect opportunity to use that scrap lumber that I was given, and I'm hoping I'm definitely going to be using it with my students, and I'm going to see if the district might want more of them. Maybe they'll fund some extra once I talk to them and see if they're interested in it. So here's what I came up with. When I do drawing and any sort of technical lettering sort of stuff, for distance learners, a lot of the kids, they have to use their phone because they don't have a fax machine or anything like that. So they're taking these blurry pictures and sending them to their teacher. So what I did is I made something. I was inspired for this by another tech teacher. I wish I could remember who it was. I would give them credit. But they made something like this that you can stand your phone on. Okay. The difference is the one that I saw the other person made. It was basically just three 90-degree angles, and you had to use a counterweight on the end to keep from tipping over. I improved on that design by going with a cantilever sort of thing and a foot. So I will run the video on this in just a second, but this is scrap lumber from the auditorium. That's all it is. They dropped this stuff off. It's got some marks in it, but I cleaned it up, ran it through the planer, all that sort of stuff. But even if you don't have a planer or anything like that, this is something you could process very simply just with some hand tools. All you would need in order to make this is a miter box and a handsaw, and just a hammer and nails or screws or whatever you want to use. Heck, you could even use dowels and a drill. If you really want to go basic, just some wood glue, and it won't be quite as strong that way because you're gluing on end grain. But I think it came out pretty nice. This one is just a prototype. I haven't done any finishing touches like putting any wood putty to cover up the holes or anything like that. This was just to test the concept and see if it worked. So I will be attaching plans for this in the video description. So please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more stuff like this. I will be making a video in the future once I have some more R&D done on this of how I actually make it. It's really, really simple, easy to do. This could be done by 7th graders. It's a simple project. There's really nothing to shout about with it, but simplicity is always a good thing. You can always put meaning behind it, and the meaning is what you're really looking for first. The project itself is secondary. So I did this because I wanted to do something a little bit different than my normal first project of the year for my manufacturing group, which is the mass-produced back scratchers. I wanted something that was a little bit more intensive, something they'd get more out of, and something that would be more useful. So this is what I came up with. So we're going to try it out this year and see how it goes. So I'm going to do a video on that in the coming weeks in detail of how I make it. And then I've also got this one I'll be doing. Okay, this one is a unfinished example that I used last year for my carving. Not carving. Creative woodworking class where I really focus on hand tools and artisanship. I use this to teach different types of joinery. So I have the kids they make hand-cut dovetail joints. I have them use hardwood. I use pine when I do these examples because it makes it quicker. That way I don't have to sit there watching me cut a piece of wood forever. I can cut nice and quick and just slap it together. So that's what this is. This is just a 3-piece shelf. So I do dovetails on one side, and then here on the other side, I teach them how to do a groove joint using nothing but a saw and chisel, and using a hand drill to pin it with dowels. And this is good. I tell them it's a book stand or a game stand. It just sits nice and flat on the table, and let's say you got a VHS or something. It just sits right there. There's enough of an angle that it's not going to tip, and it keeps your stuff all upright so they're not going to start tipping this way. So I do that project with them as well. That's an introductory project. It's more geared toward 9th graders, that sort of thing. So that video will be coming up probably sometime in February. So we got a little ways off for that one. So that's what's coming. I'm going to roll just a little bit more detail on the phone stand that I just showed you, so you can get a better idea of what it's for. I'm actually kind of pretty proud of it and excited to try it out, see how it does, see what the kids' reaction is to it. I think it could be very beneficial. So I'm going to roll that, and then we'll get back to it. So the premise of this is pretty simple. All it is a stand that you can sit your phone on. It'll work either portrait or landscape, depending what you're doing. So what it does, I've seen a couple other people do something like this. It's really just a stand. I modified it a bit from an example that I saw someone else make that needed a counterweight and everything. But all you really have to do is you can, since my phone is set up this way, you just set your camera right on it. Okay. And for landscape format, bam. That's all you got. And then you can adjust it as you want. No big deal there. It's nice and clear. You can see that the phone has already taken care of what it needs to. It's perfectly in focus. I can take my picture and then upload my picture for the assignment. The other way I can do this is if I flip the angle around, I can do the same thing. I designed this specifically so that the page will fit and there won't be any wood obstructing it like you'd get from other designs. So, pretty simple stuff. And you can fit anything you need to on there. Right, this is some of my old 7th grade work that I had kids doing. Depending on your needs, you can make them different ways. For this one, this is just a simple mock-up just to try it out and see how it was. So I just use a nail gun and just 4 little brads into it, hold it together for testing. It's pretty sturdy. I might go a little bit wider on the base, but that's entirely up to whoever does it. This is be a great little manufacturing project, which is what I plan to use it for. And that's the deal. I'll put plans for this in the description.